Grandad's Magic, written and illustrated by Bob Graham. Three dogs lived in Allison's house. Two sat high on the shelf. They were very precious to Allison's mom. They were very breakable. Allison was not to touch them even if she could reach. She didn't like them anyway. Allison much preferred Rupert. He lived on the armchair. Rupert only left the chair to have his dinner or go to the toilet. He wouldn't leave the chair for Allison's mom or her dad, and certainly not for Max, who often tried to pull his tail. Rupert wouldn't even get out of his chair when Grandma and Grandad came to lunch on Sunday. Allison held Max for Grandma to kiss. He curled his fists and kicked his legs. "Give him to me," said Grandad. "I know how to handle this young chap. Now for my magic." Grandad reached into Max's shirt and slowly pulled out a chocolate bear. "Have you been keeping that in your shirt all this time?" he said. Max's face lit up with pleasure. Then Grandad lost the bear and found it again under Rupert's collar. "It's magic," said Allison. "Watch me, Grandad," said Allison. She had a trick of her own. She was learning to juggle with 3 puffins filled with sand that Grandad had given her. This sounded easy, but she had to keep them going from hand to hand. The idea was to have 3 puffins in the air all at once. "Try one at a time, Allison," said Grandad, "backward and forward. And when you learn that, try 2. And when you learn that, try 3. "I'm not as good as I used to be," said Grandad. Sunday was the only day the china dogs came down from the shelf. Allison's mom used them as a table decoration. They guarded the fruit. Every Sunday, Grandad picked his table napkin out of the air like an apple off a tree. And he talked of his best trick of all. "I used to be able to take this tablecloth, give it a pull in a certain kind of way, and it would whip out from under all this stuff and leave everything standing there. But that was a long time ago." Then one Sunday, Grandad noticed how well Allison juggled. And without warning, he removed his coat and climbed onto the chair. "One good trick deserves another," he said, and he gave the tablecloth a short, snapping tug. There was a moment of silence. Mom looked pale. "You did it," said Allison. Grandad did a triumphant dance around the room. And that's when it happened. An orange rolled off the bowl, hit one of the precious dogs, and sent it spinning into mid-air. Just as Rupert happened to be making a trip to the toilet. It settled on his very broad back, then landed safely in Max's lap. Allison held her breath. Would Grandad get into trouble? But Mom smiled thinly as she put the dogs back on the shelf. "Don't you try that trick, Allie," said Grandad. The following Sunday, there were a number of changes to Allison's house. When Grandma and Grandad came to lunch, the dogs stayed on the shelf. And the table was set with unbreakable plastic plates and placemats. Just before lunch, Rupert found a box of chocolates hidden under his cushion. Later, Grandad made the chocolates appear just like magic. They were for Mom, who had had such a shock last week. Allison was dismayed. That's not magic, it's a trick. You put them there, Grandad. The price is still on them. We performers can't get it right all the time, Allison, Grandad said. But the chocolates have certainly vanished. Now, let's see how long you can spin this plastic plate on the end of your finger.